In 2020, we raised our first grant. Got our first funding, 10,000 USD. The same 2020, we got 5,000 euros from an international organization. In 2021, we got an additional 10,000 USD in grants. The same 2021, we got 15,000 USD. We got an additional 20,000 USD. But it got to a point we knew we needed to raise bigger amounts. We needed to, raise equity investment. But I didn't know what to do. We were just raising funding, small grant, doing business as usual. We had our CAC, just the simple documentation. And those simple documentation wouldn't help me raise those bigger amounts that I needed. Up until I met a senior friend in the startup space who has raised funding for his business. They've done Series A, Series B, Series C for their business. And, we had a chat and I'm like, sir, you've done all of this. I'm still raising, 10,000, 5,000. How do we move to high ticket? How do we start doing serious numbers in fundraising? And he told me something that I'm about to share with you. He asked me, what are your documentation? What are the things you have in place? What are your numbers? What are your impact? How do you tell your story? How do you communicate? What's your theory of change? All of those questions. And honestly, they were sounding like rocket science. They were sounding like, magic to my ears until I sat down. I started to look at these things, try to put these things in place. Ask, what are your policies? What are these things? You need to put these things in place. The reason is you can actually raise 10,000 USD with just your CAC registration, just CAC, your team, even if you're not making revenue. But if you want to do high ticket, you want to raise 50,000, 100,000 USD, whether in grant, whether in equity, whether in, you want to get it as a loan, even as convertible debt, you need to have serious documentation. So I sat down and we began to do these things, to put these things in place. Never in all of my life, I never knew there was something called data room, where you need to have all of this documentation, due diligence documents, because when these investors are coming, they are looking at your data and they want to see your data room. They're asking you, just give me access to your data room. I need to see these documents. And we sat down and we started doing this. Besides your CAC registration, you see those licensing, those documentation, you need to start creating policies for your business. You need to start auditing your financial statement. You need to have you need to have accounting systems in place. You need to have processes, SOPs, company policies, policy for anti-bullying policy. You need to have travel policy, all of those policies, all of those things, that represent your business. We started putting those things in place. And when we started doing that, we started applying for bigger funding. We started getting high ticket funding. And I know you're wondering, how do I get access to this? How do I do this for my business? How do I even get 10,000 to start with? How do I get 50,000, 20,000? Do you know what I've done? I've put together all of those things, all of this, not something I read somewhere in one book, all of those things that I've done for my business, that I've practiced for my business. So I've put all of those things together in a PDF document. So comment PDF below and I'll send you a copy of that.